Everybody says if you've got something to say, don't wait until you can do it perfectly. Just share today. So, here in my office with my terrible lighting and me talking to the phone for the most part, here's what I've got to say. Hi, my name's Michael Davis. I am an actor, photographer, musician, and language coach living in South Korea. And for the last 7 months, I've been on a journey to improve my health and my fitness through better eating and exercise. So, welcome to my first fitness video. All right, obviously, many of you are asking yourselves, what can this old guy teach me about health and fitness? Well, maybe nothing. Maybe you already know everything you need to know in order to improve your health. Certainly, the most important changes I made along my journey were not new to me or novel ideas. I already knew most of it. I just needed the motivation to make some decisions on which direction to start in and take the leap. So, this is going to be an open and honest look at what I learned in 2025, what worked for me, what didn't, and what surprised me along the way. First, though, let me be clear about what this video is not. This is not a flex. This is not a look what I did. And it's certainly not some magic pill I have to reveal. I don't have anything to sell you. Maybe someday I'll link to a supplement or two, but that's not my purpose. I'm sharing this at a time when I'm about a day or so away from not hitting my weight loss goal for 2025. And I couldn't be more excited about that. By the end of this video, I think you'll understand why. This is not medical advice either. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who set some goals and made some mistakes along the way. I learned from them and I want to share. Along the way, I've had supervision and received advice from my doctor, and some of it I actually listened to. I completely recommend that you do the same. If this video resonates with you, I'd invite you to subscribe. Not because I'm chasing numbers, but because this channel is meant to grow slowly with people who are living this experience, not just watching it. Subscribing just shows YouTube that this kind of grounded, honest conversation is worth showing to more people who might need it. So let's go back to the beginning. Why did I need to make a change? It was early spring of 2025. I was thinking a lot about my health. I was already on two different medications for blood pressure, and despite that, it was still creeping up. I suspected my weight was going up too, but actually at the time I didn't even own a bathroom scale. Around 10 years ago, my father passed away from complications of type 2 diabetes. Before that, he'd had strokes and heart problems, one of which was even a quadruple bypass surgery. It could be argued that all of his problems were preventable, but now we'll never know. Now that I'm approaching the age he was when his problems started to appear, I realized that I don't want my health to follow that same path at all. So back to spring of 2025, I was hearing a lot about Ozempic and Wegovy, and I was seriously considering whether I could use them to make a big weight change. That was the purpose of the first conversation I had with my doctor about weight loss, and he was actually willing to prescribe Wegovy, which has recently come available in South Korea. we looked at it and I could see that the monthly cost for that prescription was right around 550,000 won, which is roughly $400. That's per month, 4 shots a month. And basically, I realized I can't afford to commit that much per month for the amount of time it would have been necessary to make the drastic change I wanted to make. So, sitting in the doctor's office during that discussion, I made the decision to myself if I couldn't buy an easy solution, I was just going to have to change my habits and do it on my own. Not because of morality, not because of willpower, mythology, just because that was the only option left. But honestly, it turned out that it wasn't as difficult as I expected. So, to begin, first thing I did, I ordered a bathroom scale. And on May 25th, 2025, I stepped on it for the first time. 139 kilograms. That's about 306 pounds. I've never been so heavy in my whole life. And to be fully honest, I was miserable. I avoided physical activity in every possible way because it was just too difficult and painful. I couldn't cross my legs when I sit. Putting on socks was difficult. Clipping my toenails was almost impossible. Just reaching for my toes took so much effort and blood rushing to my head that my vision would get blurry. I was exhausted, I was discouraged, and I was scared. So, like a lot of people, when we need to learn a little bit and make some decisions, I went to YouTube. I wasn't looking for perfection or quick solutions, magic pills, or any of that. I just needed to know what could I do with my diet that I would actually live with. I ended up settling on two changes that I felt would fit with my lifestyle. One, reducing carbohydrates, and two, intermittent fasting. Now, I didn't eliminate carbs completely, and I wouldn't say I followed this diet or that diet exactly or whatnot, but the basic outlines are out there around the internet and around YouTube. I don't cook all of my meals. About half my lunches come from a company cafeteria, and there's days when the only vegetables are a factory made kimchi. And if there's any protein at all, that protein's going to be covered in bread and deep fried and maybe mixed in a soup with noodles. So sometimes I'd have to compromise if I was hungry, but it's okay. The goal is to focus on reduction and not purity. I didn't search through every food I like to eat and figure out exactly how many carbs are here or there. Are they good carbs or bad carbs or any of that? I made a pretty simple list of foods that I would do my best to eliminate: bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, sugar, and very importantly, beer. Fortunately, though, I love meat, I love vegetables, so there's a lot to eat. Probably my most common dinners I've made during this last 7 months have either been a salmon fillet or a steak with a nice mix of frozen vegetables stir fried in the same flavors from the meat I'd cooked. And I'd put a lot of butter or other fats, healthy oils. I made them taste good. For the intermittent fasting part, I basically started with an 8-hour eating window, it's called. I would not eat anything before 12 noon, and I'd make sure I completely finished eating by 8 p.m. After you do this for a while, even 8 p.m. seems late. And there's a lot of times when I'm finishing eating at 5, 5:30, and I have no problem not eating again the rest of the night. It certainly helped that I've never really been very dependent on breakfast. Uh, I would eat it if I had it available, but if I didn't, it wasn't unusual to not eat before lunch on a weekend anyway. That was it. No exercise, no gym, no supplements, and the weight started melting off. In the first month, I lost about 12 kilograms, which is 26 pounds. That first month included one weekend trip where I ignored my diet completely. I ate fried chicken, I drank beer, everything. Didn't worry about it. And I did go back up. But once I was back on my regular schedule and my regular diet, started coming down again. The second month, I lost about 8 more kilograms. That early momentum was powerful, not because it made me obsessed or anything, but because it just showed me that this is possible. Even having been told by my doctor that, to get down to your ideal body weight of about 90 kilograms, expect that's a good year-long process. I still was so excited about these early results that I decided to set what seemed like an amazingly crazy goal to lose 40 kilograms before the end of the year. Stick around and find out if I made it or not. Definitely the hardest times have been when I travel. In South Korea, the reality is many restaurants don't allow solo diners. And particularly the meat focused restaurants definitely don't allow solo diners. So your choices are limited to eating in convenience stores or at lunch style restaurants that tend to serve high carbohydrate foods. Not many options at all when you are trying to avoid carbs and you're on your own. Adding to my lack of options is partly the fact that I'm not fluent in Korean. So maybe I miss restaurants because of cultural or language clues that I didn't see. And of course, there were plenty of times where life versus diet, life wins. When you're invited to a 5 course meal prepared at your table by a private chef, you eat it every bite. And I don't regret any of those moments or challenges. If anything, they just taught me that this isn't about control. It's not about strictness. It's about a direction. When you're being guided by direction, the individual steps themselves don't set you back when they don't yield the results you're hoping for. They're just a step along the way. For the first couple of months, diet changes were my only focus. But don't get me wrong, by diet change, I don't mean I counted calories or portioned my food. I didn't do any of that. I just chose better foods and I ate until I was full, sometimes too full. And it worked. But then I saw as my weight dropped, my energy was coming back. I started taking walks after dinner. At first, they were short walks to a nearby cafe and back to home. Then they got longer. Now I like to pick cafes that are a pretty fair distance away from my home, just to have a destination to walk to. Maybe relax and have a coffee, then walk home. Still, those cafes keep getting farther away. Later, I even added dumbbells at home, not because I had to, but because I felt capable. And I mean, I do know that losing weight, you want to maintain your muscle. Fast forward to early December, and I actually joined a gym. Since joining, I've been going every single day, and I alternate between weightlifting workouts and a cardio day where I just run on the elliptical machine. I'm actually seeing some muscle definition that I didn't have before, and that's becoming a whole new form of motivation. There's one more aspect of this I want to mention, and that is alongside the daily intermittent fasting, I was experimenting with longer fasts. I started with 24 hours, probably almost accidentally by just skipping lunch, and decided I should do that probably once every week. Um, although now it's almost every day that I don't work, I just wait and eat an early dinner and make it a one meal day. But in June, I did my first fast beyond 24 hours, which was a 36-hour fast. In July, I did 72 hours. Then in October, I actually completed a 100-hour fast. And that's the longest I've done. These weren't just about the diet, but they were to help cleanse and reset my body. Just water, black coffee, and green tea, and electrolytes. In future videos, I'll get into more detail about the science behind occasional fasts and what effects they actually have on the body. But the surprising thing is that the biggest benefit wasn't so much physical, it was mental. There's something powerful about realizing that you decide when you eat. That sense of control actually changed my relationship with food in a way I didn't expect. So it's been just over 7 months now. I definitely don't feel like I'm on a diet anymore. It's just how I live now. I do still eat burgers sometimes, though, but I am more likely to order them with no sauces, just meat, cheese, vegetables, and then I'll take off the buns myself and eat just those other components. My weight still fluctuates. There are plateaus, there's small reversals, then progress again. What I've learned is that's normal. Those moments aren't failures, they're reminders to stay steady and not get emotional. When you stick with what works for you, your body responds. If this video felt useful or even just honest, leaving a like will help it reach more people who are looking for videos like this. So why did I create this channel? In future videos, I'll go deeper into all of this. Diet choices, fasting, travel, mistakes, and even mindset. But remember, this is just one path. It's mine. I want this channel to be more than just my path. So I hope this sparks conversation and idea sharing and ultimately a community. The greatest weight loss is the weight we lose as a side effect of learning to just take better care of ourselves. If that idea resonates, I hope you'll stick around, maybe subscribe to my channel, and more than anything, join the conversation. Now let's get to the fun stuff. I've done the weigh-in. Today is January 1st. My goal was 99 kilograms. I didn't quite reach it, but today was never meant to be the finish line. It's just one milestone along a much greater journey. My ideal weight is closer to 90 kilograms. So I'm definitely continuing. And I also want to get my body fat percentage under 20%. That's still going to become part of our journey together as we continue. I've never been afraid to set goals that feel unrealistic, and losing 40 kilograms, reaching 99 kilograms by the end of 2025, the whole time that has felt unrealistic, crazy. But if you set a big, crazy goal and you miss it by just a little bit, you've still achieved so much more than you would have if you'd set a smaller goal or maybe nothing at all. So I didn't lose 40 kilograms, I lost 38. The victory is being close enough that I can feel it and being more motivated than I've ever been in my life. In the end, the real question is this: are we more likely to regret setting a big goal and falling short, or never going for it in the first place? See you next time.